Hello everyone, welcome to Getting Started RhinoGold webinar. First of all, let me thanks to be here today. We have a lot of registers to this first webinar. We will try to do as well as we can. Okay, we tried to record all the webinar some days ago, but today we cannot reproduce the sound. For that reason, we will do in live. Okay. My name is Rafael de Molino from TDM Solutions. I'm the product manager of RhinoGold. And with me, there is Xavier Rofes. He's who take care about the marketing of TDM products. The idea is, in this webinar, we will try to explain you the basic things about RhinoGold. And remember, you have a chat area that you can write your questions, okay? I don't know if we can answer in real time, but we are taking care about all the questions and we will answer when we finish the webinar. Okay? Then to start, let me show you the agenda for today. We will start talking about who we are, what is RhinoGold, the advantage of the 3D technology. I think this is really interesting point. The interface, okay, the RhinoGold interface, the jewelry tools to create rings, stones, heads, and this stuff, artistical tools, textures, rendering, exporting to STL files to manufacturing, okay. And later, Xavi will talk about how to learn RhinoGold. We have a lot of tools to learn RhinoGold. Xavi will talk about that on the next webinars. We are TDM Solutions. TDM Solutions is a company that provides CAD/CAM solutions for several sectors. We are really focused on jewelry sector, but we have other applications as RhinoMold, RhinoNest, and RhinoShoe. Okay, TDM was founded in 2001, and our headquarters are in Barcelona, in Spain. Okay, nowadays we are working over 25 countries with more than 80 resellers. Okay, I would like to ask you, where are you located? You will see now in your screen a question. Where are you located? You can select Europe or Middle East, Asia or Pacific, North America or Latin America. We click and we click on submit. Okay, we close the poll in 3 seconds. Great, here are the results. 41% from Europe and Middle East, 15% from Asia and Pacific, North America, 41%, and 3% of Latin America. Great. What is RhinoGold? Okay, RhinoGold is a software for jewelry design. Okay, the main objective of this software is design and manufacturing. Okay, let me talk a little bit about manufacturing. This software is not just designed for model beautiful things. Our tools are designed to control the manufacturing process. Okay, we have control all the time about the thickness, the weight, and this stuff. Okay. The idea is this software allows to create models very precisely and very quickly, and we think it's really easy to use. Okay, later we'll see why we say RhinoGold is a software easy to use. Now it's easier, faster, and more powerful thanks to Fleximetrical technology. This is a technology that we developed in RhinoGold 3, and it allows to edit objects and change parameters and these things. Okay. Now I will talk about the advantages of the 3D technology. Here are some of them. I'm sure we can find more of that. Okay. The idea is that technology, the 3D technology, allows to create what we want. We have the freedom to create what we want, and we have a limited precision. Okay. Other advantage, if we can reduce the production time. Okay, this is an advantage of all the 3D technology. Okay, we can reduce the production time. Okay, we can control the costs anytime. Okay, we can analyze what is the cost that we have in our model, in stones, in metals. Okay. Other interesting thing is we can reuse our models. After some weeks using 3D technology, we can reuse, we can mix some models to create a new one. Okay. Stock reduction. Okay, we don't need to have all the models physically in our workshop. Okay, we can have all in 3D format, and we can print and cast in hours, in a couple of days. Okay. Another important thing is we have the ability to display the design before to moving to the manufacturing stage. Okay, it means we can create renders, we can create videos, we can create sections, we can create draws, all the information that we want to decide if this model goes to production or not. Okay. I think not all is good in the 3D technology. We think there are some disadvantages, okay? And maybe the most bigger disadvantage is the 3D technology blocks our creativity, okay? What it means that? It means we have two different things that blocks our creativity. Two reasons, okay? The first reason is maybe the software is limited and it doesn't allow to create what we want, okay? And the second is that we don't have enough experience controlling the software, okay? It means that when the people is starting to know about the software, in some cases they don't have the full control to create what he wants to create, okay? For that reason, we can see some objects that the people model, and you can feel if the user knows a lot about the software or not, okay? For that reason, we are really focused to create as more information as we can to help to learn RhinoGold, okay? As you can see in the website, later Xavi will talk about that. There are more than 18 hours of videos. We have the training guide, we have the forum, you can call us, you can write us, okay? I think you have all the tools to learn the software. But please take care about that, okay? Don't hesitate to invest time, money in training, okay? I think it's the most important thing, okay? Invest in training, okay? Remember, if you have any doubt or you have any comment about my words, please write in the chat area, okay? Now we will talk about the advantage of RhinoGold, okay? It's a software for jewelry design, okay? It's quick to learn. We think it's really quick to learn. It's easy and agile because all the tools has real-time preview function. We will see what it means. The idea is we can execute a command and we can modify any value and we see the result, okay? We have precision. We have a lot advanced tool for complex designs. It includes a real-time render and also is compatible with other renders for Rhino, as Flamingo, Penguin, Keyshot, V-Ray, Brazil, okay? We think the price of RhinoGold is the correct price, okay, and we don't have maintenance fees. And also, there is the possibility to attend to classroom or online training, okay? Well, we have two interfaces in one solution. The idea is we can run RhinoGold in Rhino interface and in RhinoGold interface. This is Rhino interface. Okay, we have exactly the same tools in both interfaces. Okay, this is really important. The same tools that we have in Rhino interface is the same tools that we have in RhinoGold interface. This is the RhinoGold interface. Okay, why we have a different interface? Because we create a specific interface just for Jewelry design. Okay, and all the things that we create here try to do easier, okay, and reduce the learning curve. Okay, the Fleximetrical technology. This technology, now we will see a sample. The idea is we can create objects and we can create relations between the objects. Okay, let me create a sample to show you. Well, when we install RhinoGold, we have both icons. We have Rhino icon and RhinoGold icon. Okay, if we click on Rhino, RhinoGold starts in Rhino interface. If we want to open in RhinoGold, just we need to double click. This is the start window. Okay, this is the RhinoGold interface. As you can see, we have several tabs: Drawing tab, Modeling tab, Transform tab. Let me talk a little bit about that. Okay, in Drawing tab, we have all the tools for create curves. Okay, we can create lines, curves, circles, arcs. Okay, all the wireframe tools. In modeling, we have the tools for 3D modeling, surfaces, solids. Okay. In transform, we have tools for transformation and deformation. Okay, this is really important. We will see some of these tools today. In jewelry, we have all the tools for jewelry design. We have the managers, the jewelry vault and the library. We have the gems tools, the rings tools. Okay. Artistic tools. Here, there are the tools to work from images. We will see some samples today too about how we can create a 3D using a picture. In CAM, we have tools to export to CNC milling machines, okay, to create the prototype. In STL repairing wizard, we can repair our STL files. One important thing is STL is a file format, okay, and this format is a standard, okay. We can export any model in STL and we can send to milling or print to any part of the world, okay, STL format. And here we have tools to create these files and fix if there are some problems, okay. Rendering, we have the tools for rendering to create pictures. In Analyze, we have the tools to analyze dimensions, volumes, weights, okay? In Dimension, we have tools to create drawings in 2D. If we want to create technical drawings, we can create technical drawings in RhinoGold. T-splines toolbar, okay? It allows to use T-splines in RhinoGold interface. Animation, to create videos. Later we will see some samples, okay? It allows to create not just a beautiful picture, we can create a video. And in extras, we have tools to use Grasshopper, for example, if we want to create some scripts, okay? All the commands we can execute clicking on the icon, or we can type the command, okay? Here we have the command prompt, okay? It's really important that you take care about that because it's our communication between the software, okay? And let me show you here the browser. If we click on TDM and we click on browser, okay, appears this docking window. Okay, this is the browser. We have three icons here. The first one is the Explorer. Now we will see. The second one is the real-time render. Here we have all the real-time render materials. And the third one is the library. Okay, we will see some samples to understand how it works. Okay, but first of all, let me explain you a little bit about Fleximetrical technology and what's that. Okay, let me maximize the perspective view, and we will add a stone. To add a stone, we come to Jewelry, Gem Studio. Okay, this is one way to do it. We will see more ways to do it, but this is maybe the easier. Okay, we select what stone we want to add. And in this case, we can define by diameter or by weight. Okay, 1 carat stone, 6.5, and we add it. Okay, now, as you can see, we have the stone on the tree. Okay, it's a stone of 6.5. Let me show you one command, is go to center. If we select an object and we press the key F5, okay, automatically the stone goes to the center. Let me repeat, F5. Okay. Great. Then now we have the stone. We will create a head. We click on Head Studio. We select the stone. Okay. Here we have some values. When we select the stone, automatically Gem Studio shows a head. Okay. This is real-time preview. It means we select a stone, show anything, and now we can modify what we want. For example, we can modify the diameters, we can modify the position of the prongs. Okay, we can modify if we want to move the prongs. Okay, in the second tab, we can change the prong type. We can add more copies, less copies. We change the prong type, and also we can click on library and select any curve. Okay. Easy, right? Then also we can select a curve directly in our document. Great. Then in the first tab we can modify the rail. Okay, the top rail. We can modify the height, the width, okay, the shape. Now it's rectangular shape. Okay. We can come to the library and select other curve. Okay. One important thing of the library, this library contains 3DM files. It means we can add our own files here. Okay. Great. We go to the fourth tab. We have the bottom rail. Then we can modify the height. Okay. The shape too, or come to the library. Okay. Other thing is we can change the bottom diameter. Okay, great. And in the last tab, we have the option to move the position of the prongs. Okay, in this case it's rounded, but let me show you if we change to a heart, okay, we have the option to move all of them, or we can rotate all of them. Okay, let me define 90. Okay, easy, right? Then now we create the head, and we have the head now on the tree. Okay, now this head depends of the stone. If we edit the stone, automatically update the head. How we can edit? We have different ways. One of them is come to the tree and double click on the gem. And here we can modify what we want. Okay? Other way is directly select the object, press central button in the mouse, and edit object. Okay? If some users don't use mouse, use the trackpad, they can press F4. Okay? The key F4 is exactly the same. Okay? And then edit. And let me change the shape. For example, this shape. Okay. One interesting thing is if we update this stone, the prongs here is not the best position for this stone. When we upgrade, automatically move the prongs and place it in the correct position. Okay, RhinoGold help us to do that. Okay. Obviously, we can double click on the head and edit the head. Okay, and say, okay, I want bigger. Okay. I think it's easy, right? Okay, remember, if you have any question, ask in the chat. Yeah, Xavi has a lot of work. Okay, then this is Fleximetrical technology. Other interesting thing is the interface is adaptable to your experience. It means if you are a beginner, you have less tools than an expert user. Okay, this is to try to be really soft to learn the software. The browser, the first window is Explorer. We have all the jewelry tools here. The second is the browser render. And the third is the library. Okay, in the library we have all the objects. Later we will talk more about library. The real-time render, it includes more than 200 materials. We can customize, we can add our own materials. And maybe the best thing of that is these materials contains physical properties. It means now when we add to an object yellow gold, RhinoGold knows the weight of the object. Okay, we don't need to go to select the object and say, okay, this object is yellow gold. Okay, RhinoGold knows that. Later, we will see a sample of RhinoGold report, and I'm sure it will be easier to understand that. Okay, jewelry tools. Sorry if I'm talking really fast, but we have a lot of things to talk today. Okay, jewelry tools, the Gem Studio. The Gem Studio allows to place different stones. Okay, by default follows the GIA standard, but we can customize the sizes. Okay, if we want to change any proportion, we can do it. The Gem Creator allows to create a stone from any shape. Okay, we can create any curve and create any stone, defining the proportions or the sizes as we want. We have tools for create stones from gems, from curves. Okay, let me show you a sample. Great. We go to the third icon, library. And here we can drag and drop some files. Okay? This is a really simple sample. Later we will show some complex samples, but just to understand the tools of stones we saw before Gem Studio, now we will see gems by two cores. Okay? The idea is we need to add stones between these two cores. Okay? And these two cores are not parallel. Then it means its size will be different. Gem Studio, gems by two cores. And we select the two cores. We want to select here and here. We have some parameters. We can define the distance between the stones. We can modify the direction of the cores, flip the stones, and allow modify the distance. We will see in some days more deeper this tool in the Geometry Tools webinar. Okay, but the idea is we define the distance and click in preview. Obviously here we are not defining any size, okay, because try to, okay, great. Okay, any question? Remember, the chat you can ask, okay? We click OK. And now in the tree we have all the stones by sizes. 3 millimeters, okay. Great. Let me show you other sample. We want to add the stones between these two surfaces. We will do the same. Gems by two cores. We select this one and this one. We don't need to create the cores. We can click directly on the boundaries. We define the distance. And we click on preview. As you can see, this ring is a 3D ring. For that reason, it's spending more time calculating the stones. Okay. In this case, it's a closed shape. It means that maybe we define 1 millimeter gap between the stones and the stones doesn't match. Okay, we can click an option, it's allow modify distance, and it tries to modify the distance to have correctly placed the stones. Okay, here we have the stones. We click OK button. Great. And now we can select by window these stones, transform, and we can do a mirror, a vertical mirror. And now we have the stones in the other side. Great. Pavés. We have several tools to create pavés. We have automatic pavé. The idea is it creates automatically pavés. We can define one size or different sizes. And also we can use our stock. We can define we want to use 10 stones of this size, 12 stones of this size, okay, and try to fill using these stones. We have the pavé UV, also is automatic pavé, but the difference between the automatic and the UV is automatic start from a point and go outside, and the pavé UV start from outside to inside, okay? Inside, outside, outside, inside, okay? And then we have the dynamic pavé. The dynamic pavé allows to place manually the stones where we want, okay? And also we can combine, we can do automatic pavé or later finish our pavé using dynamic pavé, okay? I repeat that in some days we have the Jewelry webinar and we will talk deeper about that, okay? Optimization for gems. We have a tool called Simple Shape Stones, and it allows to convert from real shape, okay, from this shape, okay, to simple shape. Okay, the idea is with one click we can change the shape to real to simple and to simple to real. And why we do that? Okay, why we need this tool? Because imagine that you have a pavé of 300 stones. Okay, each stone has about 100 surfaces. It means for 300 stones we have about 30,000 surfaces. Okay, with this tool reduce 24 times the weight of the stone, okay, and we can work better, okay, because our computer works faster, okay. Remember, anytime I can swap from simple to real and to real to simple, okay. We have a lot of questions.
Yes, we have a lot.
Okay, okay. Great. Visual Studio, Head Studio, Prong Studio, and Cutter Studio. Okay, we saw before the Head Studio that we have the option to create bezels, prongs, cutters, okay. And one interesting thing, these tools work with multi-threading. It means use other parts of the processor to calculate faster, okay. The ring wizard, okay, this is a tool for create ring, okay. Let me show you a sample. We create a new file. Great. We come to Jewelry tab, Ring Wizard. When we execute this tool, we see a ring, okay, as we saw in Head Studio. The idea is the first thing that we need to do is select the region. We have European, Britain, US, and Japan, okay, and we can add our regions, okay. If we want, we can define using custom regions our own region. Now we will use the European, but it's exactly the same using other regions. We select the size, 14. As you can see, when we click, change automatically the ring. Good. Then the idea is this from view is this from view. We are starting working in the bottom area. We can modify, let me change the point of view. We can modify the width and the height. Now I'm using the mouse wheel, okay? I'm moving the mouse wheel, but we can type, for example, we want 6 millimeters and we want 3 millimeters, okay? Well, now we are working just with one section. If we change this section, it affects to all the ring, okay? Then now, if we click on the top, we can modify the height and the width on the top, okay? You see now the difference? Okay, obviously we can combine some shapes, okay? We can combine the shapes. Okay, other thing that we can do is analyze the weight of our ring. For example, now we will select 14 yellow gold, okay? And here we have the weight. The weight is 32 grams. This is the computer weight, but later when we print this object, we cast and we polish, obviously we will lose weight. For that reason, this is the mathematical weight, but later we have the finishing weight, it's 27, okay? And we can click on real-time analyze. This tool, as you can see now, here on the top of the window, we have the weight on the top of the window. It allows to modify any value and see in real time the weight. Okay? Other interesting thing is we can hollow this section. Now it's completely solid, but we can say, no, we want to define a thickness of 0.7, for example. Okay? And repeat, I can write any value, 0.8, for example. Okay? And now, obviously, the weight is 15. Okay? It's easy, right? When we click OK, we have the ring on the tree. It means we can save it in our library in a later import when we want and edit any parameter. Okay? In the same way, we double click on the ring. And now we want to reduce a little bit on the top. Okay? Any question? Remember, you can write in the chat. We have the ring size creator. It allows to create the main circle to design our ring. We have linear arrays. Okay, this tool allows to copy objects. Okay, let me show you some samples. I hide this object. When I come to the library and we select dynamic array, import. Great. Now the idea is I want to copy this stone on this curve. Okay? To do that, we will use dynamic array. In transform tab, we click dynamic array. We have several ways to do that. Dynamic array. First of all, we need to select an object. We select this object and we select where we want to place this object. As you can see now, we see the first stone. We can define several copies. We can modify the distance between the stones. We can align on the center. We can align on vertical align on the curve. Okay. And also we have the control to say, no, I want 0.1. Okay. You have total control creating arrays. Okay. And the best thing is in real time. You have more functionalities to create gradients and these things. We will see in Jowly Tools webinar. But just to understand how it works, polar arrays is exactly as the linear arrays, but here is in polar mode. Dynamic profile, this is really beautiful tool. The idea is exactly as the ring wizard, but we can use it in any shape. Okay, let me create a simple sample. I think, Xavi, we are out of time, right? Okay. Then, how works the dynamic profile? The idea is we create a curve. Okay. Then we will copy this curve with polar array. We select, we say we want to have some copies. We can justify, say we want 12. Okay. The idea is in jewelry dynamic profile, we select one rail, for example, this curve, and we have the same functionality that we have in Ring Wizard. Okay, we have all the sections. We can modify the width and the height. Okay, we can add more sections. For example, if we want to add here other section like that, we can modify the width and the height. Okay, we can add a new one and place it here, and let me reduce the size. Okay, then the idea is we can combine and we can move anytime, okay, the profiles, modify the dimensions, okay. And other thing that we can do is work with several curves. We can select all the curves, okay, and now where we modify, for example, the width, or we can modify the position. Okay, really easy, right? The idea is we can combine all the sections with several curves. Okay, great. The profile manager allows to create and manage our profiles. We recommend that you create your own profiles. By default, RhinoGold includes about 20 profiles, but I recommend create your own profiles. We have tools for scale by weight. We have tools for improve the effectiveness, okay, to be faster, okay. I think it's really important, don't spend time to simple things. For example, let me just delete this one, okay. We have tools, for example, the smart grid. As you see, the grid is changing depending of the zoom, okay. And smart curve is one of these tools. This tool allows to create symmetric curves. For example, I want to create symmetrical vertical curves. Close, yes, okay. And take a look. Now is 1 millimeter. If we zoom in red, we have 0.1. It means, for example, I can click here a point. If I press shift at a corner, then now the step is 1 millimeter, but we can do a zoom and say, okay, I want 0.6, 0.6, okay, and we add other corner. Okay, we have a lot of tools like that we can create things really fast. Okay, we don't have time to spend in create a curve, create a symmetry, match, and these things. Okay, this tool is Smart Curve. artistical tools. These tools allow us to create 3D models from pictures. Okay, we have several tools. One of them is raster to vector. Raster to vector allows to create curves from a picture. Let me show you very quickly. We come to artistical tab, raster to vector. We open the picture, for example, this one. And we can edit, for example, if we can mirror, we can clean the image, okay? We can define a style, and we can click to preview. As you can see now, we have the curves of this picture. Maybe one of the best things is these curves are really good curves to create 3D models, okay? Let me select this object, I come to Gumball, I modify the size, I press F5 to go to the center, okay? Let me do bigger, great. Now I'm working freely, okay, but I can define if I want the Mickey will be 27.5 millimeters, okay? But just to understand the concept is we come to perspective view, modeling, we can extrude that. And this is a perfect solid, okay? Let me show you, we can move it. I think we have the ring here, okay? Then we can select this object and come to transformation, deformation tool. Splop is really nice tool. We can create a sphere here and apply this sphere here. Okay, and then I can apply the Mickey in 3D on any object. Okay, and the best thing, if this object is solid, is completely solid, the result is also a solid. Okay, then you can prototype without any problem. Okay, we have in some days we have the artistical tools webinar. We will talk just about these artistical tools. Later, Xavi will talk about that. Also, we have tools as Play Image. Play Image allow to add sketchers in RhinoGold. I think it's really easy. For example, I want to create a model using my sketch. Here I have some sketch. Okay. I can drag and drop this image, and then I can use it to model my design. Okay, the best thing is scale 1:1. Okay, if in the paper is 25 millimeters, here is 25 millimeters. Then we can modify the transparency and then use this picture to create the model. Okay, come here, jewelry, gem studio, 4 millimeters stones, and add the stones. Okay, and I can go on creating all the curves and later extrude and these things. Okay, now I unlock the picture and I delete it. Symmetric curves, Relief Studio, this tool allows to create reliefs from curves. Height fill by colors, we can get a picture and define different height for each color. 3D textures. This tool allows to create 3D textures, really 3D textures on objects. And later we can prototype this texture. It's not just rendering texture. Let me show you. For example, I want to create a texture in this ring. We come to texture. We select where we want to place the texture. Here. We have here some textures. Okay, we can add our own textures. We can add any picture that we want. Okay, let me get this one. And we can modify the copies. Okay, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we can define if we want accuracy or not. If you take care now about the picture, you will see it's more defined. Okay, and now it's less. I will do without accuracy to do it faster. And create textures. Here we can define the height. In this case, I will create 1 millimeter. It's too much, but maybe will be better to see the result. Okay. And the best thing, this is a surface. If we want, we can trim it, we can do all that we want. Okay. More details about these tools in the next webinar of Artistical Tools. Here, some samples. We have tools to create Celtic knots. We can create in cores, in pipes, in solids, okay? Now I will talk about the manufacturing tools. Sorry for the delay. Manufacturing tools to produce our design. We have STL Repair Wizard. This tool allows to repair and export STL geometries for 3D printers. Also, we have tools to repair, analyze, and modify your STLs. We can check naked edges, we can delete faces, we can fill holes, okay? We have the milling support structures. This tool allows to create the supports for milling machines, okay? And you have by default all the Roland GWX30 milling machine supports included. Okay. It's integrated with the most popular CAMs as Modella Player, SLP Player, Desproto, Zebra 3D, okay, RhinoCam, all that you want. Okay. Analyzing tools. I think really important tools. It's important to have the control about all. For that reason, we have weight metals and gems. We can analyze the weight of the stones and the metals. We have the weight alarm. This is really interesting tool. We can define, okay, I have 20 grams to design my object, okay? And RhinoGold is showing how many metal are you spending anytime, okay? When you modify anything, you see in real time in a progress bar here, okay, how many grams are you spending. The Jubilee Bolt on the library, we can define a folder in our computer or in our network and define it as a Jubilee Bolt library. The idea is we can, if we are working several people in the same projects, we can define this folder and we can share our models and our components between us. Okay, and obviously all the objects are parametricals. The report, this is really beautiful tool of RhinoGold 3 is the report to control the cost of our design. Let me show you. Here I'm working directly from the library, but I can come here and open any file, okay? But I think it's easier from the library. Okay, the report. We open the file. Okay, here I have my model, okay? The idea is I can apply metals, for example, pink gold. I can drag and drop any material and see the result, okay? And also I can, for example, stones. I want to add a ruby. Okay, we can type R and we can drag the ruby. Also, we can select the object or the several objects and double click, okay? And the idea is I don't need to click this object to analyze the weight. I can click directly in Jubilee tab, report list. Okay, automatically create a report. The idea is the first tab we have the stones. In this case, we have one princess of this size and the component is ruby. And we have two princesses of this size, okay? In the second tab, we have the metal. Okay, in this object, just we have this metal. Okay, this is the weight and this is the size. I can modify that if I want to define my, for example, ref TDM. Okay. In the third tab, we have the time that we invest to model this object. Okay, RhinoGold 3 is recording always all the time that you invest in any model. Okay, this is interesting because you can analyze and say, okay, how many hours I invest in this model. The idea is in this calendar, we can obviously modify it. Okay, for example, this is the design time. And also I can define other times, for example, for prototyping. I want to control here the prototyping. Okay, and define it as manufacturing task. Design tasks are in blue. In yellow is the manufacturing. Okay, and the idea is I can create a report. This project is my ring. The customer is TDM. We can import the stones. We can import the metals. We can import the time. Okay, it's 5 hours in design, 3.5 manufacturing. Okay, and here we can customize different tasks. For example, prototype casting. Okay, I added. Okay, and then I can type the values. I can check the price of the market of the metals. We have the US market, okay, for the gold, the silver, the platinum, and the palladium. But also we have the European market, Canadian, Chinese, okay, Australia, UK, Switzerland, okay, Japan, Brazil. It's easy. Then I click OK. We can customize our report if we want to add our logo, okay? And that's it. We can print it. We select a printer. In this case, we will use a PDF printer. And here is our report. We have all the description. We have all the metals. We have the time, okay? This is a PDF file. Great. Obviously, if now we change the metal, and now we say we want to use silver, okay, when we click to report, the weight of the metal will be different, okay? Now say it's silver, okay, and the weight is different. Good. We have communication tools. We have the real-time rendering. As you can see, we can apply materials, stones, pearls, wood, metals, okay? Also, it's compatible with all the render engines for Rhino, okay? Brazil, V-Ray, Flamingo, okay? And we offer you materials for free, okay? We have materials for Flamingo, for Brazil, for Hypershot, for T-Shot, okay? We have more than 200. I think this PowerPoint is not updated. We are about 600 today, okay? We have scenarios. The idea is we can download scenarios from the TDM server to create the renders. Here are more scenarios from Savannah, 3D.com. The Animation Studio allows to create videos, okay? Let me show you a sample. Maybe I think it's a little bit complex by streaming. Try to show this video because it's HD resolution and 25 frames per second. Well, I recommend visit the website and you can see there in full resolution, okay? But the idea is we can create amazing videos to show our designs to our customers, okay? We have the RhinoGold Render Studio. This is a tool for create renders, okay? The idea is very, very simple. Let me import a file. Okay, now we have this model and we want to create a picture to show to some customers. Then the idea is we come to rendering, we click on Rendering Studio, and this is completely complex, okay? I'm joking, it's just 4 steps, okay? The first step is define the environment, okay? We have several environments. It's where our model is, okay? We click Default. The second step is define the ground plate, okay? We have architectural ground plates. We have marbles, metals, okay? We have plastics. Boots. Let me select this boot, double click, and automatically displays it. Then the third one is the materials. We have stones, glasses, metals, okay? Let me select these stones. Okay, as you can see, we have some materials. Then we can select here, for example, we want to use a ruby. Double click. Okay, and here we want to use diamond. Double click. Great. Then now for the metals, we have a lot of metals, but one interesting thing is we have different finishings. Okay, we have polish, we have sandblast, and we have hammered. Okay, let me select, for example, here white gold, and here we will select yellow gold. Okay, then now we need to modify the camera position as we want. And in render, we define the resolution. Okay, we have some presets, but we can define any resolution. And the best thing is we don't have limits. Okay, you want 10,000 per 10,000 pixels, you can do it. Okay, in this case, we will do 800 per 600. And that's it. We click on render. And now it's rendering our design. As you can see, now where the squares are on the stones spend more time, okay, because it needs to calculate the lights and the refraction and these things. Okay, we have the render. This render is about 1 minute 30 seconds. Usually it's less time, but I think now in the webinar spend more resources. Okay, this is I think the easier way to create a render. Later we can, for example, we can modify if we don't want refraction here inside of the ring. We can edit the material and these things. Okay, but maybe the best thing is in seconds we have a nice render. Okay. Animation Studio. Okay, we can create animations really quickly. Okay, we can do it automatically. We can use a curve for the camera. Okay, and create very nice videos. And we can create it for email, web, or DVD. Okay, and one interesting thing is we can say, okay, I want to render using my render engine. Okay, I want to use Render Studio to create my video, or I want to use Brazil or V-Ray. Okay. RhinoGold is compatible with Wacom tablets. And here's some users gallery. You can see this gallery in the website. If you have some nice renders, please send to us and we will publish. Then here is all the information about RhinoGold. We have a lot of questions, shall we?
So far, yeah.
Yeah, and we can answer. What do you think? We have a lot of questions, or just few questions interesting to talk about?
Well, most of them ask questions about the webinar,
Okay.
and I think they are understanding RhinoGold very well.
Okay. Okay.
Then, hi everyone. I'm going to show you what to do when you get RhinoGold. Then, there are several ways to learn how to use the software. The first thing you have to do, in my opinion, is go to the website and download the trial version. We have a trial version available for 30 days for free download. So this is my recommendation. Go to RhinoGold.com and download the trial version. Once you download the version, keep on the website and go to the How to Learn section. In there, you can find the training center where all the offline trainings are shown. Just if you are interested in a training, go to the section, look for your country, and if there's any training, here you are. Later, the video tutorials. We have more than 100 videos showing each tool of RhinoGold. It is free. You can download them for free and have it on your computer. You can learn very well. You can self-learning with the videos very well. Also, on the documents, you can download the training guide with more than 160 pages and the step-by-step tutorials. What's a step-by-step tutorial? It's easy. You can download them and have 5-6 ways to create a ring, step by step. It's very recommendable. Finally, my RhinoGold. What rhinogold.com? I chat with you, with some of you about it. This is the social network of RhinoGold. In there are more than 1,000 members, all of them RhinoGold users, and we have more than 2,000 designs published by them. It's very interesting to see all the work that all the RhinoGold users do, as well as they ask doubts that other users answer, as well as us. Also, on my RhinoGold.com, you can find the events, the latest news, more videos, all the trainings, and I highly recommend you to check every day my RhinoGold.com, where you can find everything related to RhinoGold. Also, if you are lucky and you have an iPod, an iPhone, an iPad, you can import all the videos to your device, and if you are in train or at home, you can check all the videos.
Then this is my RhinoGold. The address is myrhinogold.com. Okay. And as Xavi told you, you can find videos, forums, all that you need. Okay. Other interesting thing is Xavi told before about the tutorials. Okay. You have doubts, for example, to create a model. Okay. You can send us a picture and say, okay, how we can do that. Okay, and we will publish, well, obviously, if it's confidential, we will answer you by email, but if it's possible, ask in the forum, and then we will publish the answer, the step-by-step answer, okay, in the forum. Okay, also we have educational and school lab license. Okay, I think the best thing of this educational license is without limitation, functionality and time. Okay, it's exactly the same as the commercial license. Okay, the only requirement is you must be a student or a teacher. Okay, Here we have some events of RhinoGold. We are in the most popular trade shows worldwide, in Italy, in Spain, in Switzerland, in New York, in Germany, in Santiago de Chile, okay, in Colombia, in Thailand, in Guadalajara, Mexico, okay. And I think that's all about the webinar for today.
Last thing, we are going to be here 15 more minutes answering all your questions, so keep chatting in case you have any doubt.
Well, I have a final question. It was, in theory, was in the medium of the webinar. It's very simple question. Are you interested in other webinars? Okay, you can answer yes or not. We have 70% of the people voted. You need to click yes or not and click submit. Okay, it's about 80%. Okay, we close. Okay, Xavi, 100% of the people wants more seminars. Okay, may you talk a little bit about the next seminars?
Yes, right now I was answering some questions about this. We offer 2 webinars per month. This was the first one. In a couple of weeks, we will have the second one. It's called Jewelry Tools. It's focused on the jewelry tools. I think Rafael showed you the Ring Wizard, the Head Studio, the Gem Studio. But for the next webinar, we will show each tool of the jewelry. After this webinar, there's another one dated on May, the first week on May, about artistic tools. Once again, we will describe all the artistic tools. And we have another webinar on May about rendering and the report tools. Of course, after these 4 webinars, we will upgrade with all new materials and all new webinars. No doubts about it.
Okay, then. That's all about the webinar for today. Again, thank you very much, because we are over 150 people here, and we really appreciate your time. Okay, and don't hesitate to contact us. Okay, you can contact to Xavier at tdmsolutions.com. You can contact me, Rafael at tdmsolutions.com. You can write us to support, to info, okay, to the developers. Please, we want to hear about you, okay? Remember myRhinoGold.com, okay? And again, thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.